Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Inside the Mirror. Today I have a very special guest, a dope dude that I finally connected with face to face. Pablo Coronado, creative artist, videographer, man of many talents. Pablo, welcome to Inside the Mirror, bro. It's nice to have you.
Thank you so much. Very, very glad
Absolutely,
to be
man.
here. We were talking earlier how our first interaction was when you congratulated me, wish me the best of luck to work with Tyler Harris. And we were talking earlier how to go from there to right now, it's crazy how time has flown, man. It's been, what, almost 2 years or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And just wishing time could go a little slower on my end.
And like we were saying, I think a lot of us realize once we get into our 20s and once we start piling on responsibilities, and
Mm-hmm.
and you become passionate about something, so you dedicate certain amounts of time to it.
Yep.
But you have that same 24 hours. So as we say, life moves so fast. Really, it's just that we take on more and more and more, and we have more responsibilities as we grow older.
Yeah.
So the clock is ticking at the same rate. You know what I mean?
And the adult life is no joke, man. I mean, to go from being pampered in my home and my sister's house. I used to live with my sister.
Uh-huh.
From one day to another, it's like, oh, now I'm entirely alone, and it's like, fuck, now I gotta wash clothes and I gotta do all these things, buy my own groceries. But then you get the perks. It's like, oh shit, I can be in boxers all day in my apartment, just chilling, and no one can tell me anything.
Yeah, but there's perks to this thing here.
Yeah,
I
so
know a
many
guy who
perks.
wrote a book called Welcome to Adulting. And it's
Uh-huh.
just about that journey of like,
Yeah.
okay, put on your big boy pants now. Here we are.
hmm Yeah.
Anyways,
Pros
man,
and
let's
cons,
go
man.
into who you are, like what you do, kind of like give us the 3 to 5 minute version of who you are, kind of what you're all about in life.
Yeah. So on my junior year of high school, I quit band. I used to be a band geek. I was a snare drummer. I was in the drum line, section leader and everything. But my band director was an asshole. And so I quit. And to substitute that elective, I joined video production. And so my junior year, my senior year, I took the intro to video production and the advanced course. And I also joined TAFE, Texas Association of Future Educators. Um, and one of the UIO competitions was to do a PSA video promoting why should you be a teacher. And because I had the video production experience, I'm like, yeah, I'll knock it down. Like, I know a little bit of editing. And so I did that video, and it took me to a national level where I placed in the top 3, top 2 in the nation. And I came back with all these awards and stuff. And after I came back, I was like, oh shit, I got a little talent going on here. So after graduating high school, I would borrow cameras from my friends. I would do weddings for like dirt cheap, like $50 weddings, like $80 weddings, only to buy my own equipment. And once I invested in that, I started going deeper in the rabbit hole of video production, started doing, political ads and, beauty pageants and all these things. And a lot of doors began to open all across the world. I ended up doing videos in Nicaragua, in Dubai, in India, in Peru. And, it's been a blessing because the abundance of joy that I've attained through this career is just it's almost like unfathomable. I do not have words to express all the good things that have happened in my life just because of video production. And more significant more significantly, my journey with Tyler, that I ended up leaving Texas to work with him for about a year and a half, and
Mm-hmm.
was traveling all across the nation pretty much every week. Started having back problems because of how much I was flying. I would have to take pills for my back. And, after closing that journey, came back to Texas to finish school.
Mm-hmm.
And most recently, I've been working on stickers to do GIFs, partnership with Giphy,
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to verify people on Giphy, so their stickers become searchable on the gift section on Instagram, so they can put their stickers on their stories. And I've been going deep on that rabbit hole, just trying to put value out there and creating this sense of urgency that if you don't have stickers, you're missing out by a long shot, because it's massively underrated. Yet at the same token, it is very innovative. You get me? Because to have the ability to share your own sticker, expressing yourself, not only by nature, like how it encompensates artistically, but also when it comes to, like, from a marketing standpoint, or from a artist standpoint, that you can have basic call for actions like swipe up or click here or new vlog, new podcast. there's so much power in that. I think people love stuff that's just visually appealing to the eye, and what better way to do that than through the art of stickers?
I
So
love it.
that's the boat that I'm in right now.
Not to love it, bro. So
Yeah.
take us back though, because I personally, selfishly want to hear about your interaction and your journey with Tyler, because I follow Tyler. I think Tyler's super inspiring. The dude is a
He's amazing,
hustler.
bro.
Like he's a
He's amazing.
madman.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Like, who is Tyler for the people that don't know? And what
Mhm.
does he do? And what did you do in conjunction with him?
Yeah, so he's one of the owners of a life insurance company, and he has a big influence on social media. And his personal brand is exactly who he is in person. A lot of people show this like different character of like, oh, hustle, and they just they're just showing off like the best version of themselves. But who he is on social media is exactly who he is in person. He doesn't camouflage. And man, working with Tyler, like it's not the easiest thing because that guy is insane. He is a robot. And basically, back to high school, when I did the video production stuff, one of my teachers was Digital Jeffrey Castillo, and he taught me the basics of video production. A couple years later, after I graduated, he quit the school district, and he ended up doing videos for Gerard Adams, his show Leaders Create Leaders. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I think that's where they made the connection. Uh, Tyler was in a lunch meeting or like a lunch event with Gerard in New York, and Tyler's previous videographer TJ, he was transitioning out, going back to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they made the connection. Hey, I'm looking for a director. Who do you recommend? And Jeffrey was like, oh, Pabs, like he's the guy. He always, under promises, over delivers. Just give him a shot and you won't regret it. So Tyler messaged me like just a quick, simple paragraph. Hey, I'm Tyler. Like, this is my brand. I'm looking for a new director for my vlog, someone to follow me and shadow me and pretty much record me 24/7. And at that moment, I was looking for something along those lines, but monetarily, you get me? I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to work from home, and I wanted for people to send me like a 2-hour podcast, and I break it down and I do the
Mm-hmm.
whole Gary model thing. For
Yeah.
those people who don't know, just look it up, Gary content model, and you'll see a lot of stuff. A lot of
Right.
information is gonna come out. But I was like, this is just a little sacrifice that I have to do. Quit school and quit my job. So I had it really good. I was a substitute teacher
Uh-huh.
with the school district. I recorded the varsity games at the Student Activity Complex Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also a video marketer for a local gym here in Laredo, on top of being a freelancer, doing whatever came my way, on top of being on school full time. I studied criminal justice, minor psychology, and I was very comfortable because although it was a lot, I had found a rhythm too, and I was liking
Mm-hmm.
it a lot. I was getting good money and stuff. But I'm like, you know what? Let's just go for it, bro, because this opportunity is like once in a lifetime. It's never gonna come back again. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't mind, being a little adventurous, having a little break for a bit, and just going out there, see what's up, and then come back, finish school.
Mm-hmm.
But while I was over there, I would shadow Tyler 24/7 and record him in the office, at his home, doing business meetings, keynotes, presentations, all that stuff. And man, it was tough. It was tough because you
Mm-hmm.
have to adjust your schedule to the schedule of a true hustler like Tyler. And it's like, man, this is what it takes to be successful. Like, I'm fucking slacking. He made me feel like a slacker, and I'm not even doing the shit he does. I'm just recording the behind the scenes,
You're just
you
filming
know?
him do all his stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we started putting a little more equal amount of work when we did 75 Hard, because I decided to do it with him. I don't know if
Oh,
you know
did
about the
you?
program 75 Hard from
Oh yeah.
Andy Frisella.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of me doing my workouts and taking my pictures and reading 10 pages and all that stuff, I was documenting Tyler's version of his.
Right.
And he hit me up with like, yeah, man, 4:30 a.m. workouts. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, it's going to get real. And, after, like, for example, like 4:30 a.m. workout, recorded his workout. After his workout, I would do my workout and then take a shower and then go to the office at 7, 8 in the morning to clock in and do my original like office work, like
Uh-huh.
editing and documenting stuff there in the home office and stuff like that. And then after coming out, it's like I have to do my workout, sometimes record his workout after coming out from the office. And it was just insane. I think that 75 Hard made my journey in South Carolina a whole lot faster because it was like day and night, next thing, next thing, next thing. And it gave me, this, what's it called? Kind of like discipline aspect that I was missing in my life, because I was very comfortable where I
Mm-hmm.
was just as an artist. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, like let's put a little bit of discipline in there. Let's start eating right. Let's start working out. Let's start getting active on top of doing your original like professional work and stuff.
Sure.
So it really, really gave me a lot of perspective. It gave me the discipline that I didn't have. And right now I've been dropping a lot of weight, but all of those pillars come straight from 75 Hard, because I know what hard work really is. And now
Mm-hmm.
because of that, it exposes the areas where you're slacking.
Mm-hmm.
And it tells you, hey, you've done this before. Like
Mm-hmm.
don't eat that burger. Stuff like
Right.
that kind of stays with you. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm really grateful for all that stuff, man. So many things that happened down there. I ended up connecting with God again. I got baptized
Good for you, man.
just because of that environment in the home office, like with the same people that I would work with. I
Mm-hmm.
started going with church with them. Um, I ended up getting baptized. Tyler was there. People from the office were there. All the media team. We would go to the same church and stuff, and just so many good things that came about from that journey, man. It was
That's
one of
awesome,
the
man.
best things I've ever done in my life.
I like that you said, I think 2 or 3 times you said it. I don't even know if you noticed. You referenced being comfortable and how
Yeah,
comfortable you were. And then obviously you came back and you had shocked yourself out of that comfort, obviously, right? And created
yeah,
new habits, new pillars, like you said.
yeah.
Where should most people, if you were to give somebody some advice on comfort and the dangers of being comfortable, like from your own personal experience, and I can talk on it too, but I want to hear your point of view.
Hmm.
What are the dangers of being too comfortable when you start limiting your own success or your own potential? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. I think comfort comes from confidence, and confidence comes from repetition. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was very confident where I was, because I would do the video production stuff in my area back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
constantly. So it's like, oh, another political ad, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Another gym video, got it. Another day going to school, got it. It
Mm-hmm.
was more of a routine, but that routine just keeps you stuck, man. And I feel like if there's no growth element into it, you won't get out of your comfort zone, and that's where you start getting in trouble. Not that there's any bad thing in comfort itself,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it's a good space, that you're at. You're being productive. You're getting money. You're studying, or you're paying your bills and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Most people ended up, they end up having a mediocre life, and that's okay for them if they're
Mm-hmm.
all about it. But if you're not okay mentally, internally, um, if you pretend to do all these things, and at the end of the day you have the nastiest thoughts about yourself, I think that's where you start getting in trouble. You start getting a little more
Mm-hmm.
towards like mental health, you get me?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you start feeling like a fraud, or stuff like that, I think that is the real trouble right there. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily your health or stuff like that, but like internally, like how much pressure do you have in your chest before you go to sleep every day?
Mm-hmm.
um, and what better way to snap out of that cycle than to implement a program such as 75 Hard? You get me? Or just
Mm-hmm.
trying something totally new, totally out of your comfort zone, because it requires a lot of intention. It requires a lot of energy to focus on the new environment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you start noticing your subconscious behaviors, your subconscious thoughts. Because again, it's a new environment, and
Mm-hmm.
you get to really see yourself through a different lens.
Mm-hmm. And I think from personal experience and from what it sounds like for you, when you shock yourself by putting yourself in an uncomfortable environment, like you said, you have to be so intentional that you do end up learning a lot about yourself, about,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm capable of this, or I
Hmm.
struggle with this and I wasn't aware of that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
or this is something that excites me and inspires me and I never have
Hmm.
tried it, so now I'm aware of that. So like, I
Hmm.
think putting yourself in uncomfortable positions is incredibly important for people that want more out of life. Like you said,
Yeah.
if you are living a happy life and it's mediocre to the outside world, but you're
Yeah.
happy, more kudos to
By
you.
all
I love
means,
it.
Mazel tov,
Right?
Mazel tov.
Absolutely. Right. But I was actually on your LinkedIn this morning and reading your article about your journey to India. And that was super interesting, man.
Yeah.
You had a lot to say in there. So we could go for hours probably just on that one post.
Yeah.
But I want to hear some of your thoughts and kind of talk about how did you get into that journey, and how did you find that opportunity? And then kind of the experience, because you learned a lot through there, kind of about being a creative, separating, or do you need to separate work from fun? There's just a lot packed into that. Like, can you break a little bit of that down? Tell us how you got into India, and then kind of all that stuff.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, I ended up getting a gig in India, documenting the behind the scenes of a group of photographers that went to India, and they hired me to just do like a video of them, like their journey and stuff like that. And in the process of being out there recording all that stuff, I'm here thinking like, man, I have to, it's my first gig abroad, you know, which a lot of, you know, cinematographers aspire to have those type of gigs. So first of all, it's a freaking blessing, you know, it was overwhelming. And I struggled with having fun myself and enjoying all that stuff, because I was too worried about being a perfectionist behind the camera. Like, man, don't miss this shot. Like, this is the money shot right here. Don't fuck it up, Pabs, you know? And as I wrote in my article, it was almost as if it was mutually exclusive, you know? Like, when you turn off the camera and when you're not working, that's when I can enjoy myself. That's when I can have fun. But if I'm behind the camera, you know, it's like, gotta be sharp, gotta be serious. It's all business. And I struggle with that, you know? And then I write how it all came down to this idea of perfection, you know, that I just need to be perfect at what I do. And because of that, everything else is irrelevant. So I struggle with that because it gave me a certain degree of anxiousness, of anxiety, that I couldn't fuck it up, you know, because it's my first video abroad, and, you know, it's amazing and all these things, but it's like, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up. And then as the days pass by, just how the people in there, the group of photographers that I went with, just were so kind to me, and like, we're just having fun and we're drinking and stuff like that. And it's like, little by little, I start realizing, hey, I don't have to be so hard on myself. And I need to fall back to like where I am right now and just be grateful that I'm here and enjoy the moment. And so those thoughts began to disintegrate little by little. And it's something that I had never experienced before, because prior to that, I would have fun. I would enjoy everything that I would do behind the camera. But again, there was always this like afterthought that told me like, hey, don't have too much fun. You're not allowed to have fun. You're there to work. You know, this is a business gig. These are not your friends. These are your, you know, they hired you. Like, you're there to do your job. But it's weird. I don't really know why I would think that way, but that's, you know, that's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful for that trip abroad, because it showed me that, you know, fine line between, yeah, you're there working, but also like lay back and have fun and enjoy everything. You don't have to be so hard on yourself.
Bro, I can totally relate to that, because me personally, I'm the same way. As like, I have a very tough time having fun, or like just enjoying life, because I'm doing a lot of stuff. Not to toot my own horn, but like, I'm really busy. So, you know, you're the same way, I'm sure. And Tyler, you know, people like that are very much the same way. My planner is full. I got things to do all day, every day. But a lot of those things I also enjoy. Like, I enjoy having conversations with people like you. So I enjoy the podcast. I enjoy everything else I do. But sometimes I get in that mindset as well. As like, it has to be focused, and this is business, and this is building something, and you got to just grind. And there's no time for fun or relaxation or enjoyment. So what, I know you were saying that, like, kind of just, it started kind of just setting in of like, okay, the people around me are having a good time. Is there any clear thought or tactic that you would be able to give that you think you learned that was like, okay, this is how I can do what I love and still have fun, you know?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I guess the reason why I'm grateful for that experience is not because it came to me like an epiphany or something. You get me? It was the people that I was surrounded by and how they were passing me beers and like, come Babs, like put the camera down, or, you know, stuff like that. And it's like, you know, I'm enjoying the company of these people, and so are they. So I think it has a lot to do with your environment. And just because of that, I don't think I'm able to put out there like a tactical, you know, like something tactical for the audience to be like, oh, like, let me think about this, and this is gonna fix it, you know. But if anything, I would think that it would be having the self-awareness that you're in the moment, you know, like having the self-awareness that, hey, I'm being anxious because I'm being a little too hard on myself, and therefore I'm overthinking that, hey, like, I gotta work and I cannot have fun and stuff like that. And maybe throughout that process, when you realize that you're in it, you could do something about it because you have the awareness, and recognize that it's not a good thing. You know, just
Hmm.
lay back. At the end of the day, we're all human. As Gary says, at the end of the day, we all suck. You know, so it's like just fucking do it. You know, like don't. It's not a freaking, I don't know. It's not a freaking corporate ad. Like, take a
Right.
chill pill.
Yeah. No, I think that's actually tactical. Like that, and that's something that I've been trying to practice is like slowing down, enjoying what I'm doing, right? Like if I'm writing something, if I'm recording something, having a conversation, like woosah, take a deep breath,
Mm-hmm.
be in the
Mm-hmm.
moment because the moments pass. And then if you pile on all these moments that you aren't enjoying, that's when your anxiety continues to heighten and you are still
Correct.
not enjoying the process, right? And
Correct.
there's
Yeah.
something to be said, a lot to be said for enjoying the process because as you know, as people like Gary know and Tyler know who have already, quote unquote made it, is that at the very end of the process or when you make it, I mean, then you look back and you either enjoyed it or you didn't. The wins
Yeah.
at the end are really
Yeah.
just icing on the cake, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
process is making the cake.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
because
saying?
the process is life. You know, the journey, like the journey
Exactly.
is the story. And regardless if at the end of that journey you got the money or you got the trophy or you got the award or the recognition, it doesn't really matter if you suffered every second of it. You get
Mm-hmm.
me? Um, and so yeah, there's so much truth in what you said. But I think that awareness is really, really important, and it doesn't really come unless you're intentional about it. um, and from the books that I ended up reading and all the stuff that I learned from 75 hard,
Mm-hmm.
uh, from the the information that I consumed, like all the books, it was like a big ass stack of like self-development and personal growth books and stuff like that.
Sure.
I never, in that realm of personal growth, I was completely undereducated. I had no idea about like subconscious thoughts and stuff like, which is weird because I minored in psychology, and so I kind of knew like the theories of those things and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily like implementing them into my life. Um, but that's when the stuff that you feed into your mind becomes very important, because otherwise you don't know any better, and it's not anyone's fault.
Sure. I like what you said there is sometimes it's, as I heard you say it, it's like sometimes we have this knowledge, right? We listen to Gary Vee for 3 years, right? Or we follow people like Tyler, or we follow people like you, and we're like, I want to be a videographer, right? And Pabs is dope, and I want to be just like him, and I've studied him, I have all this knowledge. But at some point it's just about taking that knowledge and executing on that knowledge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You can only stack up so much knowledge before it becomes worthless if there's no action behind it. You know what I mean?
Correct. Correct.
Were you always somebody that was kind of self-driven and took action when you were excited
Yeah,
about something?
I've always looked to do the next big thing. I've
Mm-hmm.
always looked forward to that, and that's the reason why Tyler caught my eye, because it's like, oh, this is that next big thing. you
Mm-hmm.
know um but at the same coin, like at the same token, on the other side of that, it's like, in the process of me chasing this like radical lifestyle, um I had not taken like the human element of it into consideration. And so this is very personal, but while I was over there, um, as the months passed, I realized that I was very sad, because I was not with my family. Like, I would visit my family and my friends 4 times a year. I would fly to Laredo quarterly to visit. But um, I was thinking to myself, like, what's the point of doing all these crazy things and flying private, like first class, and being in luxurious resorts and stuff like that, if at the end of the day I come back to an empty apartment, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I was kind of like, I fell into a little bit of a depression, simply because on the verge of me chasing this luxurious lifestyle, I was the loneliest that I had ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I would be like in resorts and stuff like that, surrounded by all these people, but I felt so lonely inside.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's also part of the reason why I came back to Laredo, because it really sucks the fun out of anything that you do if there's no significance in it. If you have no one to show your cool videos to back at home, um, it's not entirely the reason, because I know it takes whatever it takes for you to grow and whether it be to end up in a lonely place or not, or to learn the hard way or not, in order to appreciate those little things in life. Um, and so, as I was saying, chasing the next big thing was a big, contradiction to coming back home, because it's like, it felt like a step back. It felt like a slowdown. But then you start thinking about self-awareness. It's like, well, who got that thought in my head, first of all? Like who determines what's a step back or a step forward? It's subjective.
Sure.
And so it's like, I'm not going to judge myself for slowing a little bit, and sometimes you got to slow down to speed up. And so I see this chapter of my life more as redirecting, because again, either way, I had to finish school regardless. I was going to come back at some point. And so just because of that alone, like just that little area alone, I'm immensely grateful, for my relationships and for my family and just that human connection. You get me? And it's something that I had to learn the hard way. But it's just one of those things that I'm really, really grateful for, that I had to, learn in the process, like kind of like not being aware of, I guess, the downside of chasing a radical lifestyle. Because, you think about people that they'll do anything to get big money, and it's because I really want to drive that BMW, because that BMW is going to make me so happy. But in the process of attaining that, it's like you lost all these friendships and all these relationships, and now you're alone in your BMW, crying.
Right.
So it was something that really, really caught me off guard, bro. Really caught me off guard.
There's a Gary Vee says all the time, you've heard him say, crying in your Ferrari, like
crying in your Ferrari.
right. But I think that's so important, man. And for driven people, I think it's important to realize, like, sometimes you do have to, again, we'll say it again, you have to pause and slow down. And I like what you said, that it's not necessarily a step backwards, it's redirecting, right? Yeah. Sometimes, and your life is a journey, right? It's up and down, it's left and right, it's all over. And the key is, you said it, the key is to not overjudge yourself on where you're at, right? If you're in one of the, if you're at a peak and you're having a great high, that's amazing, but don't overdo it. And when you're in the lows, that's part of the journey, right? I think for me this year, a word I've really been focused on is balance, right? Yeah. Being able to balance things and not go too crazy. Like, I've got to build this and it has to be massive and it must be done in 2 years. But also, like, I can't just be like, well, it'll just make itself big and, I'll figure it out later. There's a balance in life of being able to, and like you said, there's family is important. There's so many variables that go into the 24 hours a day of how we allocate our time. That balance, I think, is incredibly key. And I think you were saying that throughout the whole thing. Now, I was reading on your LinkedIn also that you quarterly go overseas. Is it Nicaragua that you go to?
Yeah.
Talk about that. What is that journey about?
Let me explain that story, because it's a beautiful story.
Love it.
So Tyler and, the life insurance company that he works for, they are one of the main sponsors for a nonprofit organization in Nicaragua called Chosen Children Ministries. And they go there quarterly to build houses and feed the poor, and they go to church and they minister them. And just what they do is just so, so beautiful. And I had the privilege of going 2 times while I was over there. And after that second time, I was already transitioning out to come back to Texas. And it's funny, because when I was still doing 75 hard, right? And in one of my walks, I just got up my phone, and I have the video. I can send it to you. I have a video recording myself, because I would like talk to myself, kind of like a self-journal type of thing. And you remember I said I would visit family 4 times a year. I told myself, what if I can be with my family at all times, be with them instead, and just work 4 times a year? It's a radical thought, not possible in the real life, in the real world. But it was just something that was sitting heavy on my soul. And a week after I made that video, the directors of that nonprofit come to the home office, and they call me into the boardroom, and they're asking me to go with Tyler quarterly 4 times a year. To the point that even after I came back to Texas, it's like, I had a conversation with the CEO, and it's like, we'll still get you on board so you can be a part of that journey and do follow-up documentaries in Nicaragua 4 times a year. After making that video that I want to be with my family and work 4 times a year, and it's just too much of a coincidence for me to just like not acknowledge it. I think it was a blessing.
That's
but
amazing,
now because
man.
of that, so right now things are a little slow because of COVID, but whenever they start going again, they'll fly me from my home, to be a part of that journey.
What a crazy testament to so many things, man,
Yeah.
of the power of kind of just speaking things out there, right? Like there's a power.
Hmm.
I'm not into like mystical, like if you say it, it'll happen. Like I'm not really
Yeah.
down with that. But I
Yeah.
do think there's a power to speaking things and believing there's a possibility. And then again, as a man of faith, like I think God coordinates things to your best interest a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of
And
things going on behind the scenes that we don't have full control over.
hmm and going back to what I was telling you before, I work with Tyler, that just being so infatuated by all the stuff that I was watching from Gary Vee, for example,
Hmm.
it's like, man, like I want to be the D-Rock for someone who has who does something great, right?
Right.
But I want to do it from home. I
Uh-huh.
don't want to have to abandon my lifestyle and my family and everyone because I have to do that or because I want to do that. And so maybe about a day or 2 days ago, I had a call with Carlos Gill, and I don't know if you know him,
Hmm.
but basically he's looking for someone to fly out like once a month, and I'll be with him in Miami for about a week or documenting a keynote or something, and then I fly back home and I get to work from home you know
Nice.
so I'm like, that is exactly what I was looking for when Tyler hit me up. But it's like, maybe I was not worthy of experiencing that until I learned the hard way the pros and cons of leaving everything behind and
Mm.
doing it yourself in person. And God's not going to give you anything greater than you can handle, because
Amen.
even if he does give it to you, you'll misuse it anyways you
Hmm.
know
Amen.
so maybe I had to go through all these things because I didn't have the knowledge and the discipline and the type of person that I became, that is entirely required to handle that type of responsibility. And now it's just falling into my lap without me even looking for it.
Hmm.
So that just adds more to the story. And I think it's breadcrumbs from the universe, from God telling you you're in the right way.
Hmm. And I think that your journey, the hard times going to South Carolina, all of those things are just like anybody. A lot of times we're resistant to things that are difficult or that we don't like, but then we look back on it and we go, huh, I understand why that happened,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it fit into what is happening now, right? It prepared
Correct.
me for the next phase of the journey. So just like
Yeah.
we were saying earlier, even though life is up and down sometimes, the down times, or when you feel like, man, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to be doing, or where I'm supposed to be at, a lot of times being patient and going, maybe this is supposed to play a part in my future journey, right?
Yeah.
And then executing daily, like
And
on those
it always
tasks.
it always plays a part, man. It always plays a part, because
Mhm.
think about, like, the lonely place where I was at is like, oh, I'm not with family and I'm all depressed and shit. And it's like, well, back when I was with family, would I tell them that I love them every day? Would I hang out with them every day? It's like, no. So it kind of makes you
Mm.
grateful for those little things. So you kind of have to learn the hard way, like God, acknowledging that God is keeping you here for a reason. You know,
Mm.
part of that reason also is so I can attain all these skills that I'm not now able to implement on future clients, such as
Mm-hmm.
Carlos.
Sure.
Because everything that I do for Tyler, I didn't know how to do it. I learned it when I was over there. And now,
Mm-hmm.
because I have that skill set and that portfolio, he hits me up like, oh, you're the type of person I'm looking for. And had
Mm-hmm.
I never gone with Tyler, I never would have been on his radar.
Right. Connecting the
Hmm.
dots, right? People are
Hmm.
connecting the dots. Uh, so you just graduated. I think we said something about that. You just graduated. For a lot of people I know, even for friends that I have, they graduate and go, oh my gosh, all I've known is school my entire
Yeah.
life. What do
Yeah.
I do now? But you're
Hmm.
somebody who, you've got a lot of experience in different things. You've already executed on your passions. Where are you headed now, as far as like your where's your what is your vision?
Yeah.
Where are you wanting to go?
It's very interesting. So we were talking about India earlier. When I was in
Mhm.
India, I actually had an interview so I could teach video production at the school
Okay.
district, actually the high school that I went to. Um,
Nice.
and I didn't get the job because the interview was all choppy. Like, it was freaking, what, 3, 4 in the morning in India, and then over
Hmm.
here it was like noon. So it was bad, and I didn't end up getting that job. But it was at that moment that I realized I don't want to do anything regarding to my degree, criminal justice, minor psychology. And I just wanted to go all out video production, whether it be teaching or doing, right? And
Hmm.
so I still stay true to that. I feel the same way. Um, and it was on my junior year, so it's like I cannot drop out or change majors or anything.
Yeah.
Like, might as well finish. To me, it wasn't that big a deal. A lot of people make it a big deal, but to me, I was like, yeah, I'm almost at the finish line. So just finish it. You know, at the end of
Love
the day,
it.
it's just theory of criminology. It's not the hardest thing in the world. But now that I did graduate, I recognize that I'm not pressured to go for it, to become a cop or, whatever.
Sure.
But I've earned the degree. The opportunity is
Mm-hmm.
there for whenever I do feel in my heart to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I already have my degree to give it a shot,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not so pressured to find a job in that area, at
Mm-hmm.
least right now, because the way stickers are going and the vlogs that I'm currently doing for a vintage shop here in Laredo
Mm-hmm.
is going very, very well. And it's good that, you know, I stayed true to my inner art,
Mm-hmm.
psyche,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because it's still like it's self-sustainable. It's keeping me
Mm-hmm.
afloat. I'm getting money coming in and everything, and so there's no pressure with my degree. I feel like if I had stopped, I would have been so lost and so behind. And it's like, well, I cannot even compete with the current videographers because they're so
Mm-hmm.
ahead and they know all these tactics that I'm like so behind and I don't know how to do this and I don't know how to do that. And so now I'm really only relying on my degree and I had to go all in. I had to be a cop. I need to do this. I
Mm-hmm.
need to do that and put that degree to work. Um, but it's one of those things where the interest is still not there. Like I don't wake up every day going, it's a good day to be a cop, So it's like I don't. It's not in me. I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I'm an artist, and
Yes.
so I think I would thrive in any area that involves like interpersonal relationships and just
Mm-hmm.
conversating with people. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
towards like social work life,
Mm-hmm.
um, helping others. I think I'm really good at that, and I have
Mm-hmm.
this ability to connect with people on a
Mm-hmm.
very very deep level.
Mm-hmm.
I am the least shallow person ever, and so
I love it.
I think that will translate into my work whenever that opportunity does come my way.
Mm-hmm. And I think, I mean, just pontificating ideas, like there you could always do video and do things that you're passionate about in the artistic aspect, but then like
Correct.
you said, you're flying overseas and actually interacting with human beings, which is social work in its best form, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
That's the best form of social work, is going over to where people are super struggling and being able to still use your video skills, but also use these other skills
Hmm.
that you have. So
Yeah.
you've got
And
an
that's the
arsenal of
beauty that
skills.
I don't have to choose, again, going back to mutually exclusive. It's either being an artist or being
Right.
something criminal justice. Like I can do both.
Right.
I don't think I'll ever stop doing video production, especially stickers, because that's my new, like, I'm gonna roll with stickers, bro. Like I wake
I
up
want
and
to
I'm
hear
like,
about it.
damn, like so when I was in with Tyler in South Carolina,
Uh-huh.
um I figured out how to do stickers from Final Cut Pro, the video software that I use.
Sure.
And I did like one or two and I was like, oh, look, so you can put it on your story. And then after that, it's like, oh shit, like let's put in a verification. Let's do
Mm-hmm.
all these stickers and let's get Tyler verified so his audience is able to search him up and use
Mm-hmm.
his stickers on Instagram. And I ended up doing probably like 54, 55 stickers for Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
And people would actually ask me like, oh shit, like, are you doing these? Like, do you sell them? And I'm like, nah, I just do them for my boss and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I slept on that for a while. And then after I came back, just out of the blue, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go live with the service because I think people are gonna react very well to it. And
Mm-hmm.
so one day I just did this video promoting stickers that I had already made. And it's like, if you want your own sticker, hit me up. It's only 25 bucks and I'll give it
Mm-hmm.
to you that same day. Just give me a photo, I'll animate it and I'll give it to you. End of story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the response is like a bunch of messages. Oh
Yeah.
shit, you're doing stickers. Like people from outside Laredo, people from Austin, people from Dallas, people from South Carolina, North Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
Carlos Gill, who I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
earlier. And it's like, oh shit, like it's a really good response and it's good money too, because it's 25 bucks and it takes me about 20 minutes to do a sticker, so it's good money. If
Yeah.
you compare it to like an hourly basis, time frame. Like I don't even know some friends that don't even get 25 bucks an hour. So I'm here
Right.
feeling blessed with stickers doing it in 20 minutes.
Right.
So and if I can be honest, something that I've never really said before. Um, so it's the importance of people tuning into your podcast. Uh,
Sure.
the first time that I did it, it was so fulfilling. It was very exciting, more so than right now, because right now I have more clients than ever before than
Mm-hmm.
when I originally launched. But that initial high was so good, putting something new out there and the response and doing my first 2-3 sales, which is not a lot of money compared to like the amount of clients that I have right now. But the money is not as fulfilling as that initial experience when I first launched the service. So I still got the drive. It's still motivating and I still like it and everything. But the fire cannot be compared to that initial launching moment, and just receiving the feedback of like, oh shit, this is something people are actually interested in and there's money in it, so let's go for it, and I find that very, very interesting because I cannot understand why that's the case.
It was good. I was gonna ask you, do you know why you think that happened?
I have no idea, bro. I have no idea. But it's weird. I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's just that that verification that I've done something worthwhile, like people have told me, like the feedback, right? I put out this video of stickers and there's immediate feedback and it's confirmation that I had a good idea, even if it's just that basic, like I had a good idea. You know what I mean?
If anything, it confirms like my thesis or something, so that just, maybe it feeds my ego or something. And it's like, well, I like the money that comes afterwards is pretty much irrelevant, not as fulfilling as that initial ego boost.
Yeah. And so now you seek the next one. What's the next idea?
Exactly. So I've been sleeping on cinemagraphs. It's something that, again, I get a lot of DMs like, oh shit, how do you do this? It's a frozen subject with a moving background, right? So I'm frozen, but the tree on the background is moving. And that is so applicable for products if you're trying to sell a shoe or anything. From that marketing standpoint, it is very, very underrated. And you see the biggest brands out there like Jeep, Budweiser, Vogue, Prada, they do these tactics called cinemagraphs, and it's really underrated. And you typically see them on ads when you're scrolling on Facebook or Instagram. And so I'm thinking, what if I launch cinemagraphs? But then I started doubting myself, like, COVID is the wrong time to do it because, I don't really want to go out there, be with people and stuff like that. You get me? So maybe I'll wait on that. But to me, stickers, man. Stickers all the way right now. It's the way to go.
I'm interested in the stickers, man. We'll have to talk after this. I'm very interested.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about
man.
that.
I think you have a super creative mind, bro. I can tell just from talking to you that you are not your mind is not stagnant. You're very much your mind is definitely moving constantly, I think. It seems like. And I love that. I think that's part of being an artist is that you're wired. God made you that your mind is constantly like thinking of new ideas and seeking out new opportunities and things of that nature, right?
If you remember the kicks of the day that I did for Tyler, you remember those that he would post like the shoes? It started from a simple boomerang, and he liked them so much, and he was like, "Can we do these every day?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it took me like 15 minutes to do it. Like, sure, why not?" But then I started adding graphics, and they start getting better. The thing with Tyler is, if you do something like freaking amazing, you cannot go back from that quality. Like you have to top that. You have to top that the next time, and the next time has to be better. Next time has to be better. So I'm like, oh shit, like, oh shit. Oh, there. So I'm like, oh crap, I'm in trouble because these are getting very, very complex. They're getting very complicated. It takes a lot of energy for me to come up with something so creative to just put shoes out there. And there was no like, oh, let's get sponsors or something, or like, let's provide value. Like the guy's just a shoe freak. He loves shoes. So I'm like, I mean, he can afford it. Sure, why not? Let's do them every day. But that alone allowed me to attain certain skills that I'm not now able to implement on any other thing outside of shoes. Because I'm like, these shoes, these kicks of the days is like, I break down a shoe and I add a background and I put video on it and all these graphics and all these visuals. I shouldn't limit myself to shoes. It can be like a shirt, it can be a product, it can be anything else. So now that itself is the type of skill set that makes me more valuable,
100%.
But it comes back to being innovative and thinking about the next big thing, whether that be stickers, and then from a basic bubblehead, it transforms into one of the more complicated stickers, or whether it be cinemagraphs, to just have a person, holding a mug, and then it innovates into something floating in the sky. That next big thing always drives me, like how can we make this better? How can we make people's go when they see it, So I think that's what it's all about from a creative standpoint.
I think we're in a window of time with COVID and the way the world is changing, that I think you're in an amazing time to be a creative in those specific little markets of the stickers and such, because as people are going to start buying online exponentially, right? There's going to be a massive amount of companies turning. That I was listening to a podcast the other day with Gary about on Coffee and Commerce of all these companies that are having to turn digitally and sell
The
digitally. That
e-commerce.
E-commerce is about to swallow the world whole. You know, there was like,
Hmm.
it said, I think they said about 50% of purchases are made online. That's about to go up in a huge
Wow.
way, right? So
Yeah.
you're in a great time to position yourself with brands, whether it's
Hmm.
new brands or existing brands, to go,
Correct.
hey, I offer this service. This is how we can come together, and I can help you
Hmm.
brand products as
Yeah.
companies turn online even more than they already were,
Yeah.
right?
And
So what a
all
good
these things,
time.
that I've learned, I've realized that they kind of come in full circle for e-commerce. So it's like, what if God has been prepping me all the way for COVID, so I can thrive
Right.
during this time?
And I don't think you're completely wrong, man. I think COVID, for a lot of us, none of us have handled it perfect, bro. It's a very interesting time. It's a lot of struggle, but there's a lot of opportunity when things like this happen. When the world changes like this, when the
Hmm.
entire globe has to change, it's
Yeah.
an amazing time for new opportunities. I heard Mark Cuban
Correct.
say, "This is the time that will produce the next generation of great entrepreneurs." Right?
Wow.
The
Yeah.
people that are able to thrive in times of struggle or when the world changes. So I think you are one of those people that's like, you have, like you said, all that you have done has almost led up to being able to piggyback off of COVID into
Yeah.
the new
Yeah.
normal, or whatever we're calling it.
Yeah. It's
Right.
really been a launching pad to the next big thing. That's what I've
Right.
realized. And
Right.
that's the reason why I'm not overlooking the lows, because I know that after the lows, there's no other way than to go up. And
Right.
so it's teaching me something. And so I have to
Mm-hmm.
be fully present and learn from it, because it's going to be exactly what's required for me to take my next big step.
Amen. Amen. Well, bro, thank you for sharing your time with us, man. I enjoy talking to you. If there's any kudos to your conversational skills, let me give them to you now. You are a very charming personality, sir. You have a great
Thank you.
personality. Absolutely.
Likewise, I was checking your stuff earlier.
Uh-huh.
I forgot the name of this, you know, you were like rapping and stuff. I forgot the title,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll send it to you later. But it was
Mm-hmm.
very, very well produced, and it
Thank
touched me,
you.
man. And it
Thank you,
goes
man.
along the lines of what we're talking about right now. And I'll hit you up in the DMs in a bit.
Please do. All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on here, man. You have an incredible story. I wish you so much success, dude. Let's stay connected. I think that there's some things I would like to talk to you about that I think that that you could help benefit me with some of the
Yeah.
stickers and some of the different
Yeah.
ideas.
And for the record, I'm doing vlogs right now for a vintage shop here in Laredo,
Uh-huh.
and I'm struggling a little bit on music. And so I'll DM
Okay.
you about that, and maybe, we can, you know, I'll hit you in the DMs.
Yeah, let's link up. Do you have anything that you want to leave people with? Any motivational quotes, or just
Hmm.
anything that you think would be valuable to somebody? Maybe a thought.
Yeah. I'm not old enough to be like, well, I've learned all these things from my life, and, I have all this wisdom. But something that I'm certain of is that every single thing that happens to you is for a reason, and just accept it for what it is, embrace it. And it's almost a launching pad to your next big thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so, feed yourself good, positive stuff on a daily basis, and you'll be okay. At the end of the day, we're all going to be okay. No one's dying, I mean, unless you're like really old, but like it's all going to be okay, you know,
Right.
and just stay as positive as you can. Read books, watch videos on how to have a positive mindset,
Mm-hmm.
how to be optimistic, how to not be pessimistic, and things will just get better, because life is simply the lens of how you're internally. And if you're not okay right here, but you're like capping like, oh yeah, I'm happy, and I got the girls and I got the cars, but you're miserable before you go to bed, um, that's a rabbit hole that is very, very hard to escape. And so you have to be intentional about getting yourself in a better place internally in order to portray that externally and contribute to the world.
You do have a lot of wisdom. Don't downplay yourself. That was wise, man. You got to accept what you can't change, and you have to have a positive perspective on life. It's a
Always.
superpower. A
Yeah.
positive perspective is a superpower in life,
It's
especially in
just a
this time.
switch, little
That's
switch
it.
that changes everything, changes
That's it.
everything.
That's it.
Sure thing, man.
Well, we
Well, I had a
appreciate your
great
time, man.
time. I had a great time talking to you, man, and hopefully we
Ditto.
talk later.
We will. Alrighty, brother. Take care of yourself.
Have a good one. Have a better one. Bye.
Bye bye.